everyone, this is Ben back with you in the model shop. Sorry I'm a little bit out of practice here. Just for fun, I thought I'd share my guitars with everybody because I keep getting, well, occasionally I get requests about the Les Pauls. This is my 2008 Les Paul Classic. I bought it brand new in 2008. It's been my Les Paul. I've drug around, it's got scratches and nicks on it. I've taken it apart, put it back together, changed pickups, put things back, messed with the electronics, all sorts of crazy stuff. Over here is my 2008 Martin HD28 acoustic. My favorite acoustic guitar of all time that I've ever owned. I love that thing. Right here we have a, I think, 2017 Les Paul Tribute. I bought this guitar because I like the lighter finish, and it has some really nice high output P90 pickups, which I don't have a sound for. And I actually took out Gibson's silly little digital control circuit they had there, rewired it how it would have been in the 50s or 60s, and it actually gave the pickups even more output and a little bit more life. So I suggest doing that if you own one of these. And then behind me, this Telecaster is actually a project Telecaster that I built myself. The neck is a made in Mexico official Fender Telecaster neck, and then the body I built from scratch. It's actually chambered, but meant to look like a solid body, and the whole thing, it only weighs like 6 pounds. It's a third less than a real Tele, but this is a work in progress. Still not done with this thing. Alright, so for this episode of the Model Shop, what I've been doing for the last few weeks, or since the last episode, has been working on everything from the breakwater aft on the main deck. So that means all of the chocks, all of the bits, all of the big vents, all of the little vents, all of the even smaller vents, some electric motors and pulleys. There's some photo etch detail from the Pontos kit that we've installed. Yeah, it was all very tedious and took a lot of time, and unfortunately I don't think shows a whole lot or is that interesting, but you be the judge of that. One more thing I want to mention in this episode, I did also dent the side of the hull where the Kamikaze attack took place. This was on, for those of you who aren't familiar, on April 11th, 1945, there was a semi-successful Kamikaze attack on Missouri where a Japanese Zero did hit the side of the ship. The bomb, fortunately, did not go off, so the plane just hit, broke up. It was a small fire, it was okay. That happened at 2:43 p.m. It hit approximately frame 169 and about 3 feet below the edge of the deck. So I did the best I could to model that. I do want to mention that although it's not confirmed, the name of the Kamikaze pilot is believed to be Setsu Ishino, or Ishino. I'm probably not pronouncing any of that correctly, but I feel it's important to reference these individuals. You know, we fought for our country, and he was fighting for his as well. So it's important that we honor both of these people. Speaking of the dent, I did the best I could to represent it. Well, I've looked at a lot of reference photos, I've reached out to some people. It's just hard to tell which dent where in that spot on the real ship today was from the Kamikaze attack. So what you see on my build might just be a little bit more representative of you know, what happened. It may not be exactly at all accurate, but there's a dent there. You guys will all see it, and it doesn't stick out, you know, in the great scheme of things when you look at the whole ship, but you'll get to see that today as well. So anyway, we just want to mention that to honor that soldier or aviator for the sacrifice he made for his country. Alright, so without going on much more, I'm hoping maybe to get one more video out this week. I don't know. And then the second half of this month I have to work a lot, so just doing the best I can to plow along here. So anyway, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the different intro, and yeah, let's get to the model, and we'll see you all next time.
Alright, so these are the Pono Kit reels, the little ones. There's two different sizes, and I had to start putting these together for, these go in behind the water brake. But they didn't include this center section here made out of aluminum. I put that in there myself. They wanted you just to fold this up and have the two halves, and then that was it. So that was kind of disappointing because you'll clearly see that there's nothing in the middle. but obviously, you know, whatever, you're gonna have to go ahead and cut some aluminum rod if you're doing this, put in there. And they're small. This is a dime, teeny tiny, but they look really sharp. They're better than the kit provided ones. So, all right, moving on. All right, just quick update. We've got the spools installed right there behind the water break, couple of the vents. Moving back, we've got some of the photo etch, some more vents. I painted up a ton of these lockers and put them in because I realized, you could see here, this is where the, let's grab this piece goes, wraps around it. I shouldn't be putting these in first. They just get in the way. I should install all these parts, obviously not the anti-aircraft guns, but the little gun lockers first, and then put the railing around so I don't have to struggle with everything. So the bits are installed, more bits, and then because I painted up a ton of the lockers, I had to install them in the back somewhere, and I'm still short 3 that go over there for those anti-aircraft guns. But yeah, I just took everything off of the sprue and painted them up, and then piece back there that I accidentally took off early, and then those bits are painted. So anyway, same deal with back here. There's a big huge plastic piece that goes and wraps itself all the way around here, and I thought, why have that in the way? Let's put all this stuff together first, and then we'll save that for last. So alright, moving on. Okay, just a quick view of the back. We've got a bunch of parts that are all dry fitted and sitting in place, and a handful of brass pieces that are about to get painted. So I thought I'd take a quick shot so you can see what we've got going on here before we start painting everything up and it all starts to disappear. Pressing on. Alright, so we have to address the Kamikaze dent impact. So the problem I'm running into is where exactly it hit. Well, the reference book that I have is very clear that it struck approximately frame 169 and about 3 feet below the edge. If you Google online, there's all sorts of pictures of a little dent at the top, and then there's of course all kinds of dents on the Missouri's hull all along here, all over the place. So the problem I'm running into, I'm trying to do this as best that I can, and no matter what I do, someone's going to say, you got it in the wrong spot, but that's fine. So frame 169, per the internet reference point that I got, is basically right here. That's 169, right there. But the dent that everyone shows along the water line is right here, just forward of this bit. And when you look at pictures online of the position of the aircraft, it appears to be right about here. We'll call it right about 169, traversing this way. So the idea is, I'm thinking if my reference, what might be wrong about my reference is that the left wingtip struck right here, 169, right? And then the aircraft pivoted this way into the hull. And that's why we have a dent right here, and it would coincide with the photograph taken from up over here looking back this way. So I got to commit to a dent. I'm going to go ahead, and it says it was near the 5-inch gun placements further down here. You can't really see this gun placement from the photograph, but you definitely could see this one. So I'm going to pull the trigger, and I'm going to put a little dent. I'm going to carve a little spot right in here, right in this little area, and I'll probably put a little bit more of a dent down in the hull here. And you know, accurate or not, this is going to represent the impact site. So let's go ahead and carve that out. Alright, so here are the 2 dents I put in. I went with this one. This is the one that I see online a lot that people take when they're in Pearl Harbor today. I don't know if this is the actual impact point, but they're actually, I mean, there's a dent there, and I tried to make it deeper in the front towards the bow and a little shallower in the back. And then down here, you should be able to make out that you got kind of a solid crease line and then a poke in, and I'm guessing this is about 3 feet, scale feet down from the top. There's a dent there on the real ship in real life, and I am hoping this is the one. But really, you know, a bunch of you are gonna lose your minds and say this probably isn't in the right spot, but it's basically to honor the Kamikaze pilot who did sacrifice his life for his country, and it's to honor the men and women who've served in the U.S. Navy who defended our country. And so we want to represent both of those people the best that we can here. So anyway, this is the dent. I'm going to go ahead and get the airbrush out and patch all this up. You may not be able to see it after this very well, but you know, it's there. I could feel it. It definitely goes in, and there's definitely there. And you've all seen it. So we have that part. Let's paint it up and press on. All right, there it is, all painted up. I think it looks nice. We've got a spot there and more reasonable dent right here. I think it looks pretty realistic for a dent, and I'm happy with how it turned out. Looks a little glossy right here from this angle because the light shine on it. We'll get that all dialed in later, but yeah, especially from over here, you know, there's a little bit going on, and if one was to look closely, they would notice that there's a dent right there in the ship. So all right, that's taken care of. Let's press forward. All right, just a quick little spot here. This is the Pontos crane controls made out of photo etch. I got a dime next to it so you can see how small it is, but that's just going to get painted, and so I thought I'd show you this real quick before we moved on. A couple other little details, and then hopefully the bulk of the little parts on the main deck will be finished up here. Alright, pressing on. So as we move along here, I'm putting together 2 of these larger spools from the Pontos kit. You see here with the dime, they're a lot bigger. But I just went ahead and did the roll part. As you can see, as I turn it, there's the side of the barrel. I'm going to fill this with a black thread to simulate hose. I'd hope to find some, but thread's going to have to do. What I want to also talk about is the instructions. So you've got 2 little parts here, and they were very confusing, and well, not very, but I figured it out. So you start out with the kit part here, and then 165 you put together, and you end up basically with this barrel. What you have to put together next is 166, and this part right here, which is actually labeled down here, 167. Then you've got this whole arrangement, and you do have these spools down here. This whole set of instructions should look like this, minus everything my fingers covering, everything above my fingers. You should have these 2 spools. You're going to need these parts. That should be labeled 167. You should put it together, end up like that. You should put these 2 halves on and have that. And then you get down here, it should look like this. You should put your big reel on your mount, and then you'll end up with that. Over here, this should all be covered up. You should have 163 and 162, bend those appropriately. Then down here, you can do it again. It shows again 162 goes together like that. Where you put your 2 halves here and fold them up, and you get this. So it's a little bit confusing. Hope you can follow it. It should be like this to here. Ignore all that crap. And then you should take this big reel, put it in there, ignore this, and you'll end up with that. So I hope that makes sense, and now I'm going to move on with getting this all put together and glued up. So for the next section here, this is the port side gun tub for the 40mm bowfer on the tail of the ship, on the fantail. Anyway, what I wanted to get at here is this piece, 501, is that set of stairs. I looked in the Pontos kit all over the place, and I could only find 1 ladder numbered
501. And as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps on it. So panning to here, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ladder rungs, and it's installed. I could not find a second one, but what I did find was a 502, and that's that one right there. It only has 4 rungs. I couldn't find anywhere else in the instructions a 502 or anything for the starboard side, so I'm going with that. I'm putting the 502 there. It matches the same style, it's just shorter rung. I went ahead and hung it in the middle. Feel free to comment if that's completely incorrect, but it's what I'm gonna do for right now. Also, I guess I'll point it out, I put together the crane control. Not sure if I showed that in a previous clip or not. It's been a little while. The photo etch, but it looks good. It's a nice little detail right there. So anyway, the next thing I'm working on is the ammo racks for the gun tubs here. Turns out 40mm rofers need a lot of ammunition, and they have these round racks that go around the inside that you stack the ammo in, and as the turret would pivot, one of the sailors would run around. He'd grab ammunition out of the nearest spot and hand it to the gentleman up on the gun, the loader, and he'd put it in and bang, shoot away. So let's just take a peek at that. We'll go right here. This is what they look like. And what's kind of important to note, it's such a dark spot on the photograph and it's glossy. See there in the top right part right there, how there's just a single rack that goes around. That's a real important clue for the instructions, which I'm going to try and explain right here in the back. So we'll be working with this area. This is 17 starboard and 18 port. So if we start looking over here on the starboard side, well, they just draw the wings the same way, but you're going to use 17A1, B, C, and D. This is how you are going to start out. 1701 is the bottom ring, the next one up, the next one up, and finally D, because you see here we have just that short little piece that goes around here. And these instructions, Pontos, this is the whole thing here for all of the positions, and then they show you where they are here. Obviously, I've got to do 1 and 2 on the forward deck, way up in the bow, way over there. There it is. So we're going to go ahead and press along with that next, which is why those ladders are installed right there. So I thought I'd share all that. All right, moving along. All right, so this is kind of all the final detail. Well, not final. The basic beginner detail, and we've got our chocks all in place, got our bits, got our hatches, all of these vents that go along the back. Right up in the gun directors will go there for the 40mm bofers, and right here we're going to have the catapults on both sides. There's also, let's see, if you could kind of make out right in here, there's some little dots, holes, see them there? There's the 4 of them right up in there. Those are kit markings for life rafts that are going to get installed. I hadn't gotten around to that part yet. More vents. This is where the aft anti-aircraft machine guns go. Well, actually, that's not correct. These are cannons, 20mm. We've got our reels in place. These are the big ones that get the focus I was talking about earlier. There's 2 of those for right now. They're all done up and they got some thread on them. The smaller ones down here, I just went ahead and painted the center black. I figured that'll work well enough. This little motor thing's cool. I don't know if you can see right there, there's actually a drive shaft coming off the electric engine to the pulleys there. Let's see, more vents, more gun positions. Moving along up here to the bow, kind of more of the same. Here we've got the other vents and everything installed.
Everything looks good there. And here we have the forward 20 millimeter or 40 millimeter Beaufort positions with the ammo racks installed on them as well, that also need to be painted. And we'll get to that. This is kind of view the other side. They are stacked not perfectly straight. The kit instructions implied that was the case. I had a little bit of trouble getting them lined up the way that they are, but I'm okay with it. I think it worked out nicely. So I think that, yeah, it looks good. So that's the general stuff. This, I apologize once again, all of this detailing, and it doesn't even look like much here as we pan along the ship, took absolutely forever. All of these little parts, and that just might be par for the course on this build. We'll see. I'm sorry it's not super exciting, but it's all part of the process here. It's just what you gotta do. So anyway, that's gonna be it for this episode. I'm gonna try and get something more substantial done for the next video, so we have something a little bit more interesting to look at here. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well, and yeah, we'll press on. We'll get these all painted up. I'll talk about what I did for that. There's way more of that to come still for the rest of this build. Oh, and I cleaned up that seam on the bow there. So anyway, alright, that's it. Hope everybody's doing great, and yeah, more next time.